This video is not clickbait. I will tell you how I've been outperforming the S&P 500 by over 20% so far in 2025. First of all, we gotta get things clear. I live in Germany, so I invest in euros, okay? Important thing for Americans that might not realize it. We over here are struggling with the stock market because the US dollar is losing its value, meaning the stocks don't go as up as it does over in America. That's why the S&P 500 so far year to date is down minus 1% for us in euros. For Americans that invest in US dollars, it's up around 11-10% so far. And my annualized return is around 20%. It was up 21%, now around 19%. Anyway, I'm beating it by 20%. First of all, I'm not good, I'm not great, I'm not the best. I'm just a regular guy. So this is real advice. This is something you can apply to yourself as well. And it's not that structured, okay? I'm just rambling. I'm just telling you my straight, honest thoughts. Okay, sorry for wasting time. Let's get into it. What am I doing? First of all, I'm actually looking at the stocks I'm buying. I have 30% of my money in ETFs. Because I'm young, I want most of my money to be in single stocks. My ETF literally didn't return me a single dollar. It's like minus 1% so far. While my single stocks are going insane. The reason for that is, first of all, I did buy the dip in April, but I didn't buy it that much, to be honest. I have made some bad decisions, but I made more good decisions. It's that simple. You are going to make bad decisions. As you can see, I have Enphase Energy still in my portfolio, down minus 50%. Okay, this sounds horrible, but at the same time, I have stocks that doubled. I have Xiaomi that I believed in, which gave me a great return. I bought the dip in NVIDIA. I bought the dip in TSMC. I invest in big companies that have a lot of money that I trust. And as soon as they dip, I buy. Obviously, not every dip is the same. It's about the market dipping and not the company itself. For example, we have Novo Nordisk, a company that dipped while the stock market is booming. Did I buy it? Yes, I did. I did buy it a lot, to be honest, because I still believe in the company. But I didn't buy all the dips. If you look at Novo Nordisk, it's been dipping and dipping and dipping. My first buy was around 60 euros, okay? I've seen people that bought the dip at 80 euros, at 100 or whatever. Not every dip is worth buying. I bought it at 60, then it went further down. I didn't buy. Then it went further down, and then I was like, okay, this is a territory where there is literally no other way to look at it than just to buy the dip. And I kept buying, and I'm super confident. This is one of the stocks that is down for me a couple percent, and I'm so happy because I truly believe in that. That's also an important point. I mentioned Enphase Energy. It's not a company that I believe in that much, but the sector itself. Even if you're down, you gotta believe in what you buy. Otherwise, cut it off. Who cares about minus 50%? I had stocks that double. I make gains anyway. So why would my money lay in there? My portfolio management, I can briefly discuss. I have a lot of technology stocks. I'm not that interested in diversification, but I obviously do diversify. But it's more important to have around 10 to 20 stocks that you believe in. That's enough diversification that you truly know. Because if you have 50 stocks, you're not going to be able to follow all of them. I have hundreds of stocks in my watch list. I keep looking sometimes at stocks in my watch list and I'm like, why did I even put it there? I barely know the company, you know? And imagine you do that with money you bought, companies you bought. That's literally stupid. Not knowing what you invest in, where you put your money in. So keep it simple. You can buy stocks that are similar. I always do it as well. For example, I bought AMD when AMD was undervalued. Do I need AMD when I have NVIDIA? No, I don't. But AMD was just too cheap to ignore it. And it was down for me most of the time. I didn't even buy it at the April dip because the April dip was for me the best opportunity to buy more NVIDIA shares. But AMD also was down a lot, and after the tariff scare and everything, now AMD is back and I'm so positive in everything, even without buying the April dip, which was like the golden opportunity. My point is, you don't have to put all your money, all your eggs in one basket, but at the same time, you don't have to get 500 baskets. I think you get the point. Anyway, please, if anybody's watching, comment down below. I'll go deep. I'm open-minded. I just don't know what y'all want to hear. So I can talk about my single stocks, about my strategy, about anything. For me, I have mostly, like I said, 30% ETF, 60% single stocks. In those single stocks, I look at it. I have a couple stocks that I will buy and hold forever meaning 5 to 10 years because I can predict what's going to happen in 15 years. But I'm quite confident that these companies are worth keeping for at least like 5 to 10 years. I have a couple of those. Then I have a couple of growth companies, like potential companies already that are positive, making money, but obviously not the NVIDIAs of the world, but still big companies that I believe in the growth story that can overlap, by the way. For example, Xiaomi, it's in that category, but it's also in the category of buy and hold forever for me. Anyway, other than that, I have small portions of companies that I just believe in a turnaround or as a swing trade, buying them, selling them. I have done it a lot. I've done it with Impinj. I've done it with the trade desk. I've done it with like a gold mine, Ever Silver Resource, which I kind of regret because that stock doubled and tripled and I sold out quite early. But anyway, I have those swing trades where I just make money, move the money, buy maybe more shares of another company that I believe in more. It's that simple. And then I have a couple of stocks that I think are just, kind of defensive, like Wolters Kluwer, which is also down quite a lot for me, but it is defensive in the way of it's not that volatile, and I just keep them in the background, stabilizing my overall returns, especially if a correction comes, so I have still companies that are gonna do good. I'm also quite invested in the medical sector, which I know people don't like. These are my two biggest sectors, medical and technology, but for now at least it's given me great returns and I'm quite happy about it. Anyway, and last but not least, like I said, I have swing trades, I have defensive stocks, I have growth and long-term companies. Last but not least, I always have a couple, miners and resources, oil, copper, gold, whatever I believe in, lithium. I have those companies as well. If I look at it so far, with the gold rise, I've made a lot of money off that, but my copper as well, Euro Copper, done good so far. I had a good buy-in. Lithium is hovering around the same. Oil is down. So overall, you look at it and it's quite, neutral if you understand what I'm trying to say. If you have more, if you obviously commit to one sector in specific, you can make a lot of money, but I just view it as I have the gold company, it's doing good, so I don't have to put my money into the gold anymore. And while the oil or lithium does bad, I'll invest more in that. And then as soon as the gold stops being on that great rise, I can take out some profits and just enjoy the rise of another commodity. So, like I said, to sum it up, I invest in companies and commodities. I invest in high growth stories, buy and hold, some swing trades, and a defensive sector as well. If you look at the stocks, the companies I hold, no company is over 10% of my portfolio. It's, I think, TSMC, Alphabet, NVIDIA, Xiaomi, they're all around 5%. Okay, the big companies that are stable, they're around 5% of my portfolio each. And then you have smaller companies that make up 1-2% of my portfolio. That's about it. But I do have something important to still talk about, and that is the mindset. It's not about the investment itself, because anybody can get lucky and have a good investment. I mean, you invest in NVIDIA? Such a great idea. You're so smart. Am I right? Obviously, it's about the person behind it. So I would recommend anyone who's still listening to be, please, emotionally stable, stay rational. I don't know how to say it. I always said it. It's about consuming a lot of information. You should watch a lot of videos. You should listen to a lot of people, but you shouldn't follow it, You should be able, that's the most important skill, the most important asset, to have all that information available, but to filter out the right and wrong or use it accordingly. That's so important, especially nowadays we're having all the information available. You just gotta be able to understand and utilize it. So if I tell you something, you shouldn't be like, Xiaomi is great. He said it. I'll buy 500 shares now. No, you should think for yourself. Obviously, it's your decision if you do something right or wrong. I've done it before. I listened to a guy, for example, Enphase Energy. I listened to a guy and I'm down. I could be salty and be like, this guy stinks and I'll never listen to him again. But it's not his fault. And I still believe in the solar industry itself. It is not the best investment, but at the same time, I made this decision. I committed to it. I have to do my due diligence. I have to research properly. And it's a lesson. You learn, you lose, you win. Doesn't matter. Don't be salty. Just improve, okay? When you do something wrong, try to do better. It's that simple. There is no right or wrong answer. There's no, I have to do value investing. I have to do high growth investing. I have to do dividend or whatever. It's not right or wrong, okay? You can do anything. At the end of the day, we just want to maximize our profits. So if right now there's a deep value company that you can invest in, do that. You don't have to be a value investor to hunt those companies. If there's a dividend company that's stable and also looks like to be a good company for the foreseeable future, then you can invest in it even if it doesn't bring you great returns. It shouldn't be your whole personality, like, I need dividends. Relax, okay? Also high growth, because once that growth stops, what are you gonna do? Pray that they still return a good amount, or are you gonna sell out at the perfect time? There's every philosophy has its flaws, so you should just look to make the most out of it. I always say I'm a buy and hold long-term investor, but I do swing trades. I don't do one specific thing. I do anything to get as much profit out of these companies, out of these investments as possible, because I have my goals. I don't care about money, but I want to live a nice life. I want to take care of my wife and future kids. So why wouldn't I try to optimize my money? At the same time, I invest halal. Ooh, yeah, halal. Ooh, what is that? Doesn't matter if you don't know what I'm trying to say. I invest morally, okay? I don't invest in companies that engage in sexual activity, alcohol, tobacco, or guns, I try to be moral about it. But you invest in Google and they are... You're right, I agree, you can't be perfect. That's always the flaw about having morals. People are like, you have morals? Then why are you not doing it perfect? I'm trying, okay? I'm trying as best as I can. But obviously, no company is perfect and most of them suck. I just try to invest in them that don't suck as much as the other ones, okay? Okay. Anyway, and as you can see, even while being this moral or whatever and not the smartest, not the brightest, you can still get a great return. That's my point at the end of the day. A little yapping session to end it. I already kind of started it, but talking about stocks. Yeah, life is weird. We had the Charlie Kirk situation. What's my opinion? Nobody asked. I don't care. I don't feel anything. I don't agree with his views. Ooh, should he have shot? No. Was it deserved? Only Allah knows. Only Allah can tell, can say. So I don't care. I didn't get happy. I didn't get sad. But it was kind of interesting. It was kind of ironic. And at the end of the day, I just think situations like this, what's going to happen is it's just going to divide us further. He got shot now. His side, his political view side is angry. And they blame the other side and blah, 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 blah. So unnecessary, man. All that's going to happen is someone else will replace him and they're going to spread the same hate and people are just going to stay divided. Don't be divided. If you are, I'm sorry for you, man. I'm sad. I'm upset because everybody needs love. And I just feel like people that have so much hate in them, they don't have enough love. They need a wife like mine in their life. They need a mom like mine, a dad like mine, a brother like mine. I have a great family, great future ahead of me. That's why I don't have any place for hate in my heart. I'm a hater, low-key though, but just in a fun way. But true hate, I don't have that. That's my point. Anyway, like always, peace, love, goodbye.